Which is better for you, the Bold N1 from BLU or the BLU V9? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison between the Bold N1 and the BLU V9. Now, the Bold N1 was recently launched, and this is the first phone in the new Bold brand, which is a sub-brand created by BLU. Now, to my understanding, the Bold brand is supposed to be more premium handsets, so we'll have to see what else comes out from them in the future. But I'll tell you what, with the launch of the Bold N1, Bold is already off to a very strong start. And the BLU V9 has been out for about a month now, and this phone is actually a Best Buy exclusive. So you can only get the BLU V9 at Best Buy, but it is available factory unlocked. Another cool thing too is that if you sign up with a carrier at Best Buy with this phone, you'll actually get a $50 discount on it. So that is a pretty nice thing, but if you do want to get this phone on Amazon, you can actually get the BLU Vivo XL5, which is a pretty similar smartphone. Now in a separate video, I will be comparing this to the BLU Vivo XL5, but if you are at Best Buy and you want to buy a phone from BLU, this is going to be one of the top options that I'm sure they'll recommend to you. Now currently, the Bold N1 is being offered at a promotional price of $199.99 on Bold's website. I'm not sure how long that's going to last for, and it is definitely possible that by the time you're watching this video, that promo price might not even be available anymore. Now you can also buy this phone on Amazon for $249.99, which is the permanent price for the Bold N1. So once the promo does go away, it's going to be available for $249.99 everywhere. Now I will be leaving links in the video description to where you can see the most up-to-date pricing for this device. And the BLU V9 is currently being offered, as I mentioned before, for $179.99 over at Best Buy. So the Bold N1 is $70 more expensive than the BLU V9, so a bit more expensive, so we'll have to see in this video if it's worth spending the extra money for the Bold N1. Now both devices are GSM unlocked, which means that you can use these with any GSM carrier. That includes AT&T and T-Mobile, as well as Metro by T-Mobile and Cricket. In addition to that, you can use these with some of the smaller carriers like Mint Mobile and Straight Talk. Now, the Bold N1 features a 6.4-inch display at 1080p with 403 ppi and a 19.5:9 aspect ratio. You can see the design of this phone is pretty much all display with very small bezels, and there is no notch at the top. Instead, we have a pop-out front-facing camera. And with the BLU V9, we have a more traditional design, at least by 2019 standards, with a teardrop notch at the top. Now this device features a slightly smaller 6.3-inch display at 720p with a 19:9 aspect ratio. So you can see holding these two devices next to each other, they're about the same size, but the chin on the bottom is definitely much larger on the BLU V9. The good news though is that with both phones, you are getting very good looking displays that are pretty crisp and clear, that's for sure. And there's no doubt about it, the display on the Bold N1 is better than the one on the BLU V9, but you can see here that this display still is good looking, and it's not like this is a bad display by any means. So with the Bold N1, we're getting that front-facing 13 megapixel camera that is a pop-up camera, and with the BLU V9, we are also getting a 13 megapixel front-facing camera, but it is built into the teardrop notch. With the Bold N1, we are getting 128 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion, and with the BLU V9, we are getting 64 gigs of internal storage, and we also get SD card expansion. So twice the amount of internal storage with the Bold N1. Now with the Bold N1, we get wireless charging, but with the BLU V9, there is no wireless charging. We also get fingerprint sensors with both phones. Now with the Bold N1, the fingerprint sensor is built into the display, so a pretty cool feature to see there, especially on a budget smartphone. And with the BLU V9, the fingerprint sensor is on the rear, and it is nice and quick. So I do like both fingerprint sensors, and you'll have to decide on your own if you do want to get this phone and have that built-in fingerprint sensor in the display. It's certainly a very cool feature, and something that for a while we only saw with flagship phones, but now it is making its way over to budget phones. Now we have a dual camera setup on both devices here. With the Bold N1, we have a 16 megapixel main camera and a 5 megapixel secondary camera. And on the BLU V9, we have a 13 megapixel main camera and a 2 megapixel secondary camera. So with both devices, we are getting portrait mode, which is definitely great to see. Now with the Bold N1, we are getting 4 gigabytes of RAM, and with the BLU V9, we are getting 3 gigabytes of RAM. With the Bold N1, we are getting the MediaTek Helio P70 processor, and with the BLU V9, we are getting the Unisoc SC9863A processor. So definitely a much better processor with the Bold N1. In fact, I actually like the Helio P70 quite a bit, even though it is from MediaTek, and I know that they don't always have the best reputation, but it really is a good processor. Now, I did run an Antutu benchmark test with both phones so that you can get an idea of the actual benchmark scores, and you can see that the scores here are pretty different. So with the Bold N1, we get a score of 145,545, and with the BLU V9, we get a score of 74577. Now, you can see on the bottom here, it does say G8 as the name of the BLU V9, and that's because this phone does share a lot of features with the BLU G8. The main difference though between this and the G8 is the camera, because I believe the BLU G8 has a better secondary camera compared to the V9, but other than that, it's pretty much the same device. It's just that this phone is marketed as the BLU V9. Now digging deeper into these benchmark scores, you can see we have a pretty big difference with the CPU scores especially. So with the Bold N1, we have a CPU score of 60.75.4, and with the BLU V9, we have a benchmark score of 33.75.8. So almost double the CPU score with the Bold N1. Now video recording on both devices maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second, and you're going to be getting decent camera performance with both devices. Definitely make sure to check out my full video reviews about these two phones to really get a good idea of what that quality is like, but I definitely think you'll be happy with both. You will, however, be getting better photo and video quality with the Bold N1. Now, the battery capacity of the Bold N1 is 3,500 milliamp hours, and the battery capacity of the BLU V9 is 4,000 milliamp hours. So we get an extra 500 milliamp hours of battery capacity with the BLU V9. Now, both phones run Android 9 Pie, and it's pretty much a stock version of Android with a little bit of bloatware added in, but you can easily remove that bloatware by uninstalling it. Now, Bold has pledged to upgrade the Bold N1 to Android 10 as soon as they can. Now, I have no idea what that means. That might mean that they're going to upgrade it in 2 months. It might mean that they're going to upgrade it in a year. I have no idea. But I believe the BLU V9 probably will have Android 9 Pie with it forever. And the main reason for that is because the dev team at BLU is only so big and they can only handle so many upgrades. So one of the compromises with saving a lot of money with the BLU V9 is that you probably will be having Android 9 Pie on here for life. The good news though is that it is very well optimized and runs nice and smoothly. So if you're happy with this phone as it is when you buy it, the good news is that you're going to be happy with it pretty much forever. Now that we've talked about the specifications of these two phones, let's talk a bit more about the hardware. Now we already talked a lot about the front here. We have a 1080p display with the Bold N1 versus a 720p display with the BLU V9. We have a difference with the notches here, of course, with no notch on the Bold N1 and a teardrop notch on the BLU V9. Then taking a look at the left side of these two devices, on the Bold N1 we have a metal band running around the phone, and with the BLU V9 we have a polished plastic material running around the sides. So both look nice, but definitely it's a bit more premium having that metal on the Bold N1. Now both phones feature a slot for the micro SD card and SIM card on the side. Then taking a look on the right side, we have a similar configuration with the volume button and power button. Then on the top, with the Bold N1, we have the pop-up front-facing camera and the noise-canceling microphone. And on the BLU V9, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. Then taking a look in the bottom of the two devices, on the Bold N1, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, we have the microphone, we have the USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. And with the BLU V9, we have the speaker, and we have the micro USB port, which I'm not a big fan of. I definitely prefer USB-C, and we have the microphone. Then taking a look at the back side of the two phones, they actually look pretty similar here. So both phones feature this nice piano black finish. Of course, we have the camera modules here as well with the flashes. Then on the BLU V9, we do have the fingerprint sensor. So both phones do look very nice in the back. They also both pick up quite a bit of fingerprints. Let's now do a speed test comparison between these two devices, starting off with the camera application. So 1, 2, 3, go. And definitely a bit quicker on the Bold N1 at pulling up the camera. Let's now go over to Google Chrome. So 1, 2, 3, go. And the Bold N1 was a lot quicker at pulling up Google Chrome. Now, taking a look at the two displays here, you can definitely see that on the Bold N1, the display is a lot clearer and better looking than the display on the BLU V9. And it's a pretty general trend with pretty much any content viewing experiences you have with these two phones. Definitely with the Bold N1, you're getting a much clearer, better looking display. Let's now go over to yahoo.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And the Bold N1 was quicker at pulling up Yahoo. Let's now go over to engadget.com. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the Bold N1 is quicker at pulling up Engadget, as I pretty much expected, especially with having that faster processor. Let's now do a scrolling test on both devices as they load up content here. So very smooth scrolling on the Bold N1, and also smooth scrolling on the BLU V9. So not bad either on that device. Let's now go to this article. 1, 2, 3, go. And it was about equal in that test. Let's now do some zooming in. So smooth zooming on the Bold N1 and also smooth zooming on the BLU V9. Now I'm very happy with both devices. However, I certainly do feel like the BLU V9 is a bit overpriced, especially when you can go on Amazon and you can buy the BLU Vivo XL5 for $109 currently, and it's pretty much the same exact device. So I would definitely go that route versus buying this at Best Buy, but if you must buy it at Best Buy, it's certainly not a bad choice. But I'm definitely a fan of the Bold N1, and this device features a lot of benefits over the BLU V9. It has a better processor, it has more RAM, it has better cameras, it has a better display, it has no notch at the top, it features that really cool pop-up front-facing camera. So there's a lot of things to like about the Bold N1, and I can't really imagine that if these phones happen to be the same price, you would go with the BLU V9 over the Bold N1. Another thing to mention too is that you're getting twice the amount of internal storage with the Bold N1 compared to the BLU V9. But let me know what you think about these two phones. Is it worth spending the extra money and going with the Bold N1? Or would you rather save a little bit of money and go with the BLU V9? Definitely want to know your thoughts in the comments section below. But this is Kevin here. Thanks for watching. This is the Bold N1 from BLU, and this is the BLU V9, and I will see you in the next video. Also, make sure to check out the links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for these two devices.